Algebra, Chapter 11, Section 4, two-way tables. Apparently, I'm highlighting in blue, which is such an awesome highlight color. All right, this is the second to last section of the book. What? Okay, what is a conditional relative frequency? Oh, this section is all about vocabulary. Without further ado, let's jump in. A two-way table is a frequency table. And you might be going, well, frequency, I forgot what that word means. It means the number of times something happens. So frequency table that displays data collected from one source that belong to two different categories. All right, quickly, two-way table. See this? This is a two-way table. Class. That is one source, one class, two different categories, freshman, sophomore. Mobile access, which is like access to, let's say, a phone. One source, two different categories, yes or no. Do you or don't you have access to a mobile phone or a cell phone? One category of data is represented by rows. Yeah, the class, the freshmen and sophomores. And the other is represented by columns. Columns up and down. Sorry, I should have said rows are left to right. Columns are up and down. So we have this mobile access is on the columns, classes on the rows. For instance, the two-way table below shows the results of a survey that asked freshmen and sophomores whether they have access to the internet using a mobile device, such as a smartphone. The two categories of data are class and mobile access. Class is further divided into freshman and sophomore, right? Those are the two categories. And mobile access is divided into yes or no. All right, and I should have probably done class and mobile access. Wonderful. Okay, now vocabulary. Here we go. We're going to jump in. If you have 55 freshmen say yes, those are two categories together, which are 55. So it's called a joint frequency. So the joint frequency of freshmen who said yes to mobile access is 55. So what's the joint frequency for the sophomores that said no? 12. And the joint frequency for the sophomores that said yes, 63. And the, let's say the joint frequency for freshmen who said no, that's 22. Okay, the sums of the rows and the columns in a two-way table are called marginal frequencies. Okay, sums of the rows and the columns are marginal frequencies. So why don't we jump over here to an example to do those. Find and interpret. So we have to find and interpret. Interpret means basically what are the labels. The marginal frequencies for the two-way table, let's say below. All right, so the marginal frequencies are the sum of the rows and the columns. So they usually go out here. They're out on the margins. So how about how many freshmen were surveyed? It'd be the 55 that said yes and the 22 that said no. So that's 77. So what's the marginal frequency for freshmen? 77. What's the marginal frequency for sophomores? Well, 63 said yes, 12 said no, so that's 75 total. So what's the marginal frequency for sophomores? 75. Okay, now what about yes? How many people said yes? Well, that's 8 and that's 11, so that's 118 is the marginal frequency for people who said yes, and for people who said no, we have 34. So what are these numbers on the outside? They are the marginal frequencies. Now we have to interpret what those mean. And like I said, it's just the labels. So there are 77 freshmen who were surveyed. And I'm writing this so well. Wow, look at this. This is getting really good. 77 freshmen were surveyed. 75 sophomores were surveyed. And then 118 people, I'll do like a little dashed line here to separate these two, said yes. And 34 said no. So what does interpret mean? Tell us what those units are. Tell us what those labels are. That ends part 1 for 11-4 two-way tables. I'll be back for part 2.